everyone. Today is Tuesday, April 14th. My name is Jeff Lewis, and welcome to Temperature Check with Jeff. Today, we're going to take my temperature on making decisions during a time when many folks are feeling a very, very, very unusually high level of anxiety, making decisions when one is in an extraordinarily anxious state. And per my proclivity for the works of William Shakespeare, we're also going to touch on the themes of Macbeth as we discuss this. But first, let's take our actual temperatures. So do as I do. Pull out your home thermometer. I decided to get give my Wuhan laser thermometer a break. We've got a new laser thermometer here. We've got about 15 thermometers now, so I'm very well equipped. If you need one, let me know. I can ship one to you. And let's see what we've got. Okay, this new one seems to not be working. It seems to be the consistent theme with my my temperature check. So, Okay, I'm gonna try one more time. We're gonna get this going. There we go. 98 degrees. Okay, my temperature's rising, but it's still within the realm of normal. So one of the things that's happening right now in the United States is that hospitals, or in the non-hotspots, in the non-COVID-19 hotspots, are actually not doing very well from a business standpoint, because everyone has completely held off on getting any elective surgeries done. People aren't going to hospitals for any reason. Speaking personally, I've complained before about my dental problems. I've got some more dental problems going on here in self-quarantine, although I'm not going to the dentist. And similarly, people are not going to the hospitals for elective surgeries because they're scared, rightly so, of being exposed to COVID-19. But we're in a time when people in a business context are making a lot of what I would call elective decisions. So lots of decisions are being made every day at businesses all over the place. And perhaps decisions are being made right now when you actually don't have to be making decisions. And so when this crazy change to reality, this crazy reframe of the world that we live in, first really became obvious to some folks, myself included, in sort of mid-February to very early March, that was a time for very decisive action. In a prior temperature check, when we spoke about my favorite William Shakespeare play, Hamlet, we spoke about how Hamlet's fatal flaw was his indecisiveness. You wanted to be very decisive when the context first changed. Like, that was a time, if you're an entrepreneur, late February, early March, to decisively furlough folks if you had to, change your strategy, cut costs, identify how you're going to be able to adapt your business to survive this crazy period that we're now in. So there was a moment in time for decisiveness. That moment's now passed. So now is actually a time where I would argue that most people in business, you want to be making as few decisions as possible. You want to be making very few decisions. Most people want to be making very few decisions. I'm going to talk to you about why. But first, I want to quote Macbeth. Macbeth is my second favorite Shakespeare play. So Macbeth's famous monologue, "Life is but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing." Now, the major theme in Macbeth is that he kills Duncan. He makes a really bad decision, okay? So Macbeth is like this fundamentally good guy. He is not an evil person, but he makes this horrible decision, a bad decision, to kill Duncan. And if you actually deeply read Macbeth and talk about it with people, some of the themes in Macbeth include the influence of supernatural forces. So that double toil and trouble thing with the witches, the contrast between appearance and reality, good versus evil. So the whole idea is that Macbeth's decision-making abilities are impaired by supernatural forces. And I would argue that right now, given so many folks are just their entire compass of the world is out of whack, given COVID-19, and whether you're quarantined at home or you're working in this crazy environment, like chances are your compass is out of whack because of everything that's going on and how fast our context is changing. I would argue it's kind of like analogous to a supernatural force, such that for many people, decision making is actually quite impaired right now. We are at a time of like maximum decision making impairedness. And so you want to basically avoid, if you feel basically, if you feel a lot of anxiety, you want to avoid making any elective decisions, any decisions you can push off. If you don't feel anxiety, I actually, in my case, I actually am quite enjoying this. I actually like, I mean, there's a lot that's bad that's going on, and I have a lot of empathy for what's happening. But just on a very personal level, I sort of like the slower pace, the slower investment pace. I like having time to think sort of deeply about how the world's changing, and I like dynamism. So I like when sort of the world is rapidly changing. I find it intellectually stimulating. So I'm loving it. I feel a lower level of anxiety than I normally do these days, but I've noticed that's not true for many people. Luckily, it is true for my business partner at Bedrock, Eric Stromberg, and a lot of our entrepreneurs also are like very on top of it. But I think most people in the world are kind of running around like chickens with their heads cut off, understandably. And there's actually science to back this up. And I'm going to now take this sheet off here. So this is my attempt at drawing a brain, okay? So I tried to draw the brain here. So there's basically science. There's been studies done that illustrate that anxiety, okay? So here we go. So anxiety, when the brain experiences anxiety, it impacts a very important zone of the brain. Can anyone guess what this is? This is the prefrontal cortex, this red zone that I attempted to draw here. And when the prefrontal cortex is impacted by anxiety, it negatively impacts decision making. So this is scientifically not proven, but many scientists have studied this, have studied the impact of anxiety on the prefrontal cortex. Certainly in context in my own life, in my own career, when I felt a high degree of anxiety in the past, I've made worse decisions. I've made bad decisions. So if you or anyone on your team is feeling anxious, I would suggest just pressing pause on decision making, any elective decision, any decision you don't have to make, just delay. Just put it off. Now is a great time to procrastinate. No need to rush to kill Duncan like Macbeth did. There are supernatural forces at work, and let's wait for them to abate. Today, April 14th, Jeff Lewis, my temperature is normal. I'll answer questions on another temperature check. What's yours? See you later.